And we're approaching the final corner, and I don't know whatever happened here. Welcome to Estoril, where sunshine awaits us for round 9 of our 1991 Pierluigi Martini F1 season in Automobilista 2. Now, as usual, let's talk about the real 1991 Portuguese Grand Prix first, and there is lots to talk about here because that race probably was Minardi's finest ever. Now, just looking at the results, you see that this was Martini's and Minardi's joint best ever finish in Formula 1 after the race in Imola that year, but how it came in Estoril is very different actually. Imola was chaos with the rain and the perfect day for an underdog. Estoril was a fairly regular race, and yet still, Martini finished 4th ahead of both Benettons, just 10 seconds behind Alesi's Ferrari. And the most amazing thing is that there was a point in the last stint where Martini put some proper pressure on Alesi, actually fighting the Ferrari for the podium. Of course, Prost retiring and Mansell being disqualified for a botched pit stop with a loose wheel did help, but 2 or more high-profile retirements were very common in the 90s, so you can say the 1991 Portuguese Grand Prix was the day a Minardi driver almost stood on the podium by pure pace. Sadly, the team would never come that close ever again, not even in the 6-car 2005 US Grand Prix. Now, we did already achieve the feat of standing on the podium this year, but with the premise of the actual 1991 race at Estoril, I think that the goal almost has to be just to get Minardi that little bit further and get Martini the silverware he and the team so much deserved that sunny September day in Portugal. Again, the weekend already started great with Martini managing P8 in qualifying, our best starting position so far that season, as Alboreto is back in the footwork, as you can see on the second page, but I doubt that we will have anything to do with him today. And now, let's head trackside to start the Portuguese Grand Prix 1991. And here we are on the grid in P8, looking at the Benetton of Michael Schumacher. Green lights are on, and away we go for the Portuguese Grand Prix 1991. It's a pole start by Gerhard Berger. Of course, the McLarens always pour off the line this year. He holds back Schumacher, and we move up to P6 and into the points immediately here in turn 1. And we are now just behind Riccardo Patrese in the Williams. We are following a Williams in a Minardi. It is early days in this race, but still, what a season 1991 was for Minardi. It is just such a shame that they could not build from this and maybe manifest them as a proper force in the midfield over the coming years. They had another good year in 94, but never were they as competitive as they were that year in 1991. Well, and you can just see how competitive we are because we are sticking with Patrese and Senna. And I can't really make out who that car ahead of Senna is. But still, we're sticking with them, and that is great news as we're going through the Parabolica for the first time. And this is such a tricky corner to get right because it lures you into going onto the power too quickly, and it is a killer for the left front. In general, this track very heavy on the left front tire. I will just let you watch that for the second lap while you enjoy the V12 sound of the Ferrari engine in our car. That's our lap 2, and we're dropping back a bit, and we're massively under pressure by Gerhard Berger, the Austrian, trying to get back into this race. He has had such a terrible year, such bad luck so far, and he really wants to make up for this, as he is now trying to find a way past us through the Parabolica, where I ran very wide. I tried a wider approach, and you can see the front left is really aching under these fast right-hand turns. Turn 1 and 2 not helping either. Neither is turn 3, by the way, and you can really see the temperatures are going through the roof there. Well, we have lost touch as we jump ahead now in lap 8. And we are being put under pressure by the Benetton of Michael Schumacher, who started just ahead of us. And he's looking to put us back down where we started this race. He has managed to get a wheel alongside us. And then there is no chance to fight it through here. There might be an opportunity on the main straight though, if we get a good exit out of the final corner. Though, look at our front left tire in the tire status screen on the bottom right of your picture. Again, it's a terrible run through Parabolica, by the way. But the temperatures and also the wear too high on that tire. Now that might get better later in this race when the car gets lighter as fuel gets burned off. But for the moment, it does not look like we can do that without a pit stop, because the wear and the temperatures, it's just too high. Look at that. Even here, the slower turn 3, it still gets worn down so much, that front left, and that will surely pay its toll later, take its toll later. As lap 11, and we're approaching the final corner, and I don't know whatever happened here, but somehow I lost control over the car, just managed to stay out of the tire wall there, which is very important. But look at how much we're dropping in terms of positions now, and I'm half stuck in the gravel. I just managed to get out of there, but that must be a deep gravel trap, and still, I'm not entirely sure what I did. Maybe I did some braking while turning and that locked the rears. This is what it feels like. Let's look at the replay from outside of the car if we can identify any cause there, or if it's just me locking the rears. And I think I really just locked the rears braking while turning, and that has cost me dearly, down to P15. The good news is now we're gaining on someone again, because ahead of us the Dallara that we're chasing now is losing compared to us. We are quicker, but the front left is not looking good, and this is halfway point of this race. Now again, I will let you watch this lap without commentating over it. And because I doubted that we would make it to the end with that front left, and I saw that the temperatures are keeping in a normal area right now with a lighter car, I decided to pull into the pits and try to make up more ground by just going very quick on a fresh set of tires, because I feel with a fresh set of tires we would be able to really push the car And, well, that is what we will find out now. Again, this is not looking like a great race so far, but still, halfway is still to go, and there could be something in for us. Well, for the moment, first we drop down a lap, because we are behind Nigel Mansell, the race leader right now. But from here on, things should look upward again. And they did. We already gained a position because Nigel Mansell had to retire from this race miraculously. Again, from the lead of this race, that is not... His season is falling apart right now. I don't care about it too much right now because we have been catching up to the first car that we want to pass, and this is one of the Lotuses. And now, look at the grip advantage I get through the Parabolica now. Look at that. Look at that run we are getting on Mika Häkkinen in the 11 Lotus. But somehow, he is quick in a straight line. What's happened to our straight line speeds? But still, we managed to hang on round the outside of these very quick turns, and this is just the grip that I'm having with these fresh set of tires as I turn into Häkkinen a bit. Not my proudest moment. However, we are on the inside for Curva VIP here. So, still, we move up a spot, up to P19 out of 22 cars that is still running. We don't have to say that too loud, as we're now just behind Martin Brundle in the Brabham. And now we're almost able to make a move anywhere. Satoru Nakajima is the next car. This is just working a charm right now. Round the outside of Parabolica and past Nakajima we go as well, and look at the run we are getting on the Ligier of Thierry Boutsen there ahead of us. And past him we go. Actually, that was Eric Comas, I'm very sorry, but we haven't seen much of the Ligiers this season, so I may be forgiven to confuse them. But look at that, we're getting blue flags now because Riccardo Patrese, the new race leader, is coming through. But only now, lap 24, beginning of lap 24, is Patrese close enough to actually lap us. So that is good news. We have set the third fastest lap of the race so far, as there is a big misunderstanding as I try to dive to the inside to let Patrese through at exactly the same moment where he's doing, or where he's going for exactly the same direction. There was a big slide for him. Luckily, we both get away with it, but that was close. And now, again, I'll let you watch how good and how well we're able to keep up with the race leader. So, a lap later, still very close to Patrese and very close to the next car up the road. This is Johnny Herbert in the number 12 Lotus. Decent race for him, as he's running in P14. Now, this is where we have been in terms of position ahead of our pit stop. Not really where we were on track, because there have been retirements. So technically we didn't gain yet, even if we pass him here. Look at that. Out of the Parabolica. We launch into the slipstream. That is a slingshot move on Johnny Herbert. Still, those Lotuses are quick in a straight line. Late on the brakes for turn 1 though. And we keep it under control. Move up to P14. And let's see what might still be in this race. As we're still chasing Riccardo Patrese, who is not getting rid of us too easily. And a lap later, he is about to lap the next car, and this is now the car that we were chasing ahead of our pit stop. As we're having a little look here. Not really a corner where you would usually make a move. Also the next couple of corners, not really anywhere where you would try a move. But now, again, approaching the Parabolica. Already looking at alternate lines, the grip is still there. The grip is amazing as we are just out of the final corner, already alongside Emanuele Pirro. We have the inside for turn 1. I don't think there is anything Pirro can do about this. And up to P13 we are now. The next car up the road would be our teammate Gianni Morbidelli again, so that would be a nice thing if even with that spin and with a pit stop we would still beat our teammate. And I'm also very sure now that the front left would not have survived, because still it is under much stress, not as bad as it was at the beginning of the race with the very heavy car and 200 liters of fuel on board. But still, this track very heavy on the front left, and I should have mitigated that maybe, or tried to mitigate that in the setup early on. But still, even without the spin, who knows, points might have still been on the cards, because as I said, we still have the third fastest lap of this race. Only the two Williams were able to go faster than we were, as that is quite the simple slipstream move past Morbidelli and up into P12. That would still be a respectable result. However, as it usually is the case, things were about to go south again. So, this is now me entering the final sector of this racetrack. And I noticed that something weird was going on. For the first time here, look at that, somehow input lag or some desync between my wheel and the game. Oh, come on. F***ing lags, what's going on? Yeah, f*** that. Yeah, f*** that, indeed. Now, after the race I found out what had happened, and this happened before a couple of times. I didn't experience it for a long time, but somehow my PC disconnected from my Wi-Fi, and somehow this always causes some weird input lag into Amos 2. I don't know if this is an issue with Steam, because technically it shouldn't matter to MS2 if I'm racing offline. I don't know why this is happening, but yeah, it surely is frustrating. We're down to P15 now, but at least we still managed to cross the line there and at least finish this race. And not even finish it last. But yeah, frustrating, because that could have been at least a somewhat nice result if we had finished in P12 after the last 2 races. But now again, it is a disappointing end to the race for the 3rd time in a row now. But still, let's look at the point scorers of today. Riccardo Patrese wins ahead of Ayrton Senna and Jean Alesi. So interestingly, the top 3 the same as they were in real life. Prost is 4th, Piquet 5th, and Stefano Modena scores the first points for the Tyrrell Honda team. And in the Drivers' Championship, that means that we now have a proper 3-way fight for the final 3 races of the season. Senna just 4 points behind Mansell, and Patrese just a further 2 points behind. Then it is a bigger gap to Piquet, Prost and Alesi. We drop down to 9th, but still on target for our top 10 goal that we've set ourselves ahead of this season. And then we finally also have a 3rd page with Lehto and Modena both on 1 point. In the Constructors' Championship, Williams further increases their lead over McLaren. Ferrari is in 3rd with Benetton in 4th, Minardi still in 6th. And that has been it for the Portuguese Grand Prix 1991. The next race will be the final one of the European part of that season, as we go racing at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya for the Spanish Grand Prix. Subscribe to not miss that one, leave a like if you did enjoy this video, and I hope to see you all the next time. Until then, goodbye.